My name is Raul Maldonado, and I'm the graduate assistant at Cal State San Bernardino's Santos Manuel Student Union Queer and Transgender Resource Center, and I'm a proud resident of California's 35th Congressional District. Happy Pride Month. I'm a student at Cal State San Bernardino. I'm finishing up my Master of Public Administration degree. I graduated with my Master of Social Work degree last year, and I kind of want to get into community organizing, local government, if all permits, and just give back to the community that I grew up in. That means a lot to me, and that I know requires a lot more help. Yeah, so Pride for me, Pride Month is a celebration of who we are, who I am as a person, and my growth and my journey. But it's also a celebration of those we've lost, those who've sacrificed, those who've paved the way. Usually we talk about the Stonewall Inn in New York in 1969. Um, but we fail to remember like the Compton cafeteria riots in San Francisco. Um, it also brings to mind the Pulse shootings in Orlando or the upstairs lounge fire in New Orleans in '79. We've known sacrifice, we've known loss, and to have a month kind of dedicated to celebrating who we are is important. I don't think it's not to brag or boast or to put it in people's faces, but to kind of remind folks how important it is to remain true to who you are. I have friends, people I consider family, who aren't out, and this month is just as important to them as it is to me. I've been out since I was 13, so it's it's a journey for a lot of people, and I think it's a reminder that we have come far, very far, and we still have a long way to go. Just in the sense that I've I was bullied as a kid. I was a very effeminate, flamboyant, like little boy, I guess, and this idea of not aligning to this construction of gender, right? The male gender, or being socialized as male and told I can't act this way, I can't like certain things. Definitely left me open for bullying with family, with friends, well, not friends, classmates, I guess is what you would call them. And I think as I've gotten older, it's safety. Am I okay to come out in these spaces at work? When I held a position outside of school, um, it's not knowing if I'll be okay at the end of the week. If it's my first week anywhere, it's in spaces where I have to be mindful about the way I say things, the tone of my voice. So those are some of the things I think about daily. And I do have some privileges. I identify as a non-binary queer person, so I present male, so I able to navigate spaces a little easier. I'm not harassed or bothered as much until I say something or I wear something specific that outs me, which is different compared to like my trans and gender nonconforming siblings who I think we're at 8 this year, 5 in Pride Month alone, and it's been back to back. So I've been lucky and grateful to have been safe, and even though I fear for my safety, I don't think I face as many challenging obstacles as my trans sisters or my gender nonconforming siblings who every day, in the news something comes up and we don't know and you never know. And I think that's the scary part is waking up and not knowing if today is going to be the day. When I was 13 I came out to my mom. I wrote her a letter. She was in the restroom. It took her a while. When she finally came out, she said, "Let's go for a drive." And in my head, I'm thinking, "This is it. She's going to take me on a far drive somewhere." I mean, it literally could have been a block, and she would have left me there, and I would have lost my family, everything that I've known up until that point. Right at 13, it's the end of the world, and instead, we sat in the car. Well, we drove, and then she parked back in front of the house. So it was like scary at first. And then we parked in front of the house, and we talked for hours. Just that she supports me and she loves me, and me being out isn't going to change who I am to her. And I'm grateful because she actually had a gay coworker. His name was Robert, who she talked to before for a while, I guess, and having his presence and his support for my mom to have this like back and forth with, I think I'm grateful for. Because my mom's an immigrant. She's an immigrant. She came from Mexico. She got her citizenship, and I think coming out, regardless of how non-traditional we think our parents may be, or because of how traditional they are, is what's so scary to all of us. Because in that, I mean, I'm 13. I'm like, I gotta do this. I have to tell my mom because of how close we are, and thinking like choosing to be myself, to be happy, also means choosing the potential to struggle, to lose everything, to be myself. And I think it's what we all fear, it's what we all know, and it's the stories we tell, and it's so heavily ingrained uh, with the community that it makes us hesitant to want to come out. But when the time's right, when we feel right, that's when it happens. For me, it was when I was 13, when I came out as gay, and then again when I came out as non-binary 2 years ago, a year ago. I forget. But it's always scary once you figure out your sense of self, where you belong, and I think that's the hard part is choosing to be happy over choosing to be happy with yourself over choosing everyone else's happiness, about who you're going to be. So I think that was the determining factor that I made at 13, that I needed to be happy, and I needed to stop pretending to not be me. Yeah, definitely. I think this idea that when we got marriage equality, that everybody across the board was good and there was nothing left to fight for. I mean, it's not the case. I think we fail to acknowledge the history that trans people have um, paved the way in terms of like the gay liberation movement, right? It was trans women of color who really initiated the riots, who said, "I'm not going to take this anymore," and fought back. And to be here 50 years later and still not have a level of equity for our trans siblings is it means that we have a lot more to go. And while Pride Month is a celebration of how far we come, it should also be a kind of a wake up moment and say, okay, there's still much more to do. Stonewall wasn't just then, Stonewall is now, and Stonewall has been. And I do think that trans issues are issues that may seem trendy to a lot of folks, and may seem trendy in terms of like political discourse, but it's work that's been ongoing for, I mean, decades. It hasn't stopped. Um, I think it's just time that the discourse has now become a little bit more political in terms of what's right to do and what's not right not to do in terms of legislation and policy. So I think it's the right focus, and it just needs more support and more backing, so that our trans siblings are treated with equity the same way that gay and lesbian folks have been. So I think that's the next step. I think is to pull in the support and really make sure we hold folks accountable for the things that we're doing and the malicious and really violent rants or legislation that puts the entire community at risk, because realistically an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us, and I think people fail to realize that trans people seem to put them at the bottom of this hierarchical like pyramid, but when you remove the foundation of who we are and how we came to be as a community, the whole thing crumbles. And I think that even folks within the LGBT community fail to realize the extent to which we need to offer more support and aid. Yeah, so it was. Well, I was scared at first. So finding community, I think, has been one of the biggest issues, specifically in this area, because we don't have a resource center like Los Angeles does, or a very what I would think is a very large communal like support space in San Bernardino, or the San Bernardino area in general. Palm Springs has an older retiring like LGBT scene, and so when I came to San Bernardino, I actually had my best friend introduced me to the what was then called the Pride Center, and I got to know the staff there. I got to know the coordinator there, and I got there in 2012, and it took me 2 years to invest and want to get involved. And I think that's one of the things um, I think as both as students and then as people of marginalized identities is, do I really belong in this space? And so I made the effort, I made it work, I got hired. And the biggest part was being able to give back, and not just that, but accumulating whatever resources were in the San Bernardino area to then not just be a resource for students, but the community, because we don't have anything. Riverside is doing a lot of great work, and they're up and coming, but I still feel like the San Bernardino area, the county is lacking in a lot of ways, while still trying to be inclusive and working on how can we be better. And so I'm hoping that changes, but I always wanted to make sure that the Queer and Transgender Resource Center at Cal San Bernardino was a beacon of hope for the community, and we've had community like members call and ask for resources because they didn't know where else to get them. And so it's always a surreal feeling that we're able to give that back to the community, and not just the students who attend. That it's
for the area.
For the area, it's a resource. Yeah. We do outside referrals, so we've gotten in touch with several counties. So San Bernardino County, Riverside, Los Angeles, and Orange County. We've maintained a resource list of everything that is current and up to date, that is inclusive or exclusive for LGBT folks. So this includes particular doctor's offices, a dental like office. I mean, just about anything. Like I think we even had a dog walking service that was LGBT like specific. So it was really, it took the work of myself and three other undergraduate students to pull that, and it took about 2 years to complete that. And even then, the list feels incomplete. I mean, San Bernardino still has the least. San Bernardino County still has the least amount of resources available, and so it's being able to supplement that with, okay, this place will give you a free ride to X place, and so it's a lot of networking with the nonprofits in the area, with the counties, which I've been grateful to not have an issue. And I think that's one of the benefits of living in California, in particular SoCal, because it's a lot more progressive than obviously other states or other areas. And so to just be able to network and not have issues, I think has been a blessing in and itself, and I've been grateful to have been a part of that. In terms of programs, we've always done a variety of different things. So October is LGBT History Month, so we try to offer. It's also October 11th is National Coming Out Week, so in particular, the week of National Coming Out Day, we do a week-long event related to coming out. So it could be coming out, why we don't come out, cultural factors that tie into why we come out or don't come out. How do you come out safely? How to be an ally when someone's coming out. So a lot of our programs are educational, but they can be fun and interactive too. We've hosted a drag bingo with local drag queens in the area who are amazing at what they do. We've done our annual drag show, which is one of the biggest in the Inland Empire. So been grateful to have the support of the administration of the university to be able to do these programs and the leadership there. But all these things are open to the community unless the programs are specifically like 18 and over. So like our drag show is 18 and over. But for the most part, they're open to the community and just about anyone who wants to attend. We've done healthy and inclusive sexual education programs because as queer and trans people, we don't necessarily get like refresher or quick courses on how to practice safe sex and how to develop a healthy sex life. So we've been grateful and fortunate enough to partner with sex specialists, sex and health educators to come to campus and help us lead those conversations and have the campus really engage and be curious and have our students learn and community members to learn as well. And then November is always, there's a Trans Day of Remembrance, which is November 20th. And we always do a week-long event with that too. So how to be a better trans ally. We do a vigil. And we try to bring out a speaker who identifies as trans to speak on issues and how to be better advocates and allies to the community. So it's a mix. It's a good mash of entertainment and education-based events that are centered towards student learning and developing better advocacy skills in the end, because that's really what the mission of the center is to advocate and teach and learn ourselves how to be better people. Something I would want folks to know is that there's more to who we are as a community, more than just celebrations and parades and festivals. That it's the activists behind the scenes who really get things done. That it it's something can be just as easy as donating $10 to a nonprofit in the area or near the area that does the work that has basically granted us the rights and the things that we are able to that we're able to enjoy today, and that can be said on for a lot of levels, right? So healthcare, civil rights in general, queer and trans folks have paved the way, and I think to honor those we've lost and honor those doing the work, that pride, celebrating pride or celebrating being LGBTQ plus has to exist outside of the month of June, outside of LGBT History Month, and that it should mean more than buying something that has a rainbow flag on it. That as long as you ensure that the products that you're buying are actually donate more than 15%, preferably, to the nonprofits that they say that they're working with. So celebrate us, love us, and stand beside us and help us pave the way for a journey of long life and happiness and equity.